And today we have Arі Хоріє. Arі, go ahead and introduce yourself.
So, hi, my name is Arі Horіє, founder and CEO of the Women's Startup Lab, Silicon Valley-based leading accelerator for women entrepreneurs. And we had an opportunity to get involved with wonderful folks here in the Ukraine community for WiSE24 global event. It is a 24 hours event where we showcase top female entrepreneurs around the world, as well as showcasing and global speakers and influencer at the event. So that not only we get to see the female entrepreneur rising and pitching, but we invited a global investor to join us and speakers who share their wisdom and insight. So that all of us are collaborating and growing together. So that's what our involvement to Mick and Alicia.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us today, and thank you for this opportunity to ask you some questions and interview you. So Lisa, go ahead and ask first question.
Yeah. Ari, please, could you tell us how you came up with the idea of an accelerating program for the female entrepreneurs and later global virtual pitching event WiSE24?
Sure. So Women's Startup Lab have started 7 years ago. I also had my own startup. And as I was trying to grow my company, I've noticed that investor would bluntly say, well, focusing on education, younger education, is that a big enough market? And I just couldn't understand why it would be small. And so we continue to have a similar story from a women entrepreneur that when they pitch their idea, it is a large market, but often male investor didn't understand. And realizing that our experience has not been understood, so we ended up spending more time about the needs instead of the opportunity because they couldn't relate to. And so seeing a number of challenges that women face, we just wanted to start something. And that's how Women's Startup Lab started, to support a female entrepreneur idea are understood and supported by the people who understand the market and continue to support them so they have an opportunity to stay on business and eventually get funding. And there was a lot of event meetings happening here in the Silicon Valley, but I felt that the challenges the women face is unique. And what they can do, how they continue to collaborate, it was different. And system itself wasn't built and understand and have a diverse structure. For example, many of accelerator demanded the 3 months commitment, and everything has to be turned around within overnight. And some of us has children, and if one kid gets sick, you know, the entire week get wiped off. And the system itself was demanding stuff, demanding a timeline in a way that it wasn't realistic. And then it wasn't fair for women to be labeled as they're not fit for entrepreneur, but it was more of a system was broken. So that's where Women's Startup Lab started as a meetup, and then we went on to have an accelerator. So that's that. WiSE24 is a 24-hour event for women entrepreneurs around the world. How did it started? Well, we spoke a number of amazing investors. In the closed door, they start telling me honestly, saying that, Ari, I get it. We should invest in more women, but it's numbers game. We need to see more women because we can't invest just because they're women. I need to be able to see the qualified startup. And so everybody is saying that they don't see enough deal flow that are women. And that's where we said, okay, great. One day we're just going to have all those amazing women in one place, and you have a nonstop entrepreneur pitching. Now, I didn't expect them to sit in front of a PC 8 hours or 15 hours, but there's a video, there's excitement. So we said, okay, if you don't have enough, let me show you. That's one. Two, the investor also has expressed their biases toward women. And so in order for somebody to break their biases, they need to see enough qualified, enough quality entrepreneur. And so we decided to not 3, not 7 female entrepreneurs. We this time brought 74 entrepreneurs together. And so that was that was our effort, is to hear, if you don't have it, here's an entrepreneur, but also if you see enough, you unconsciously have this, biases will be broken down. That was our intent.
Mhm. Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you, like, based on your experience, can you please name us 3 factors that determine the impact of women's tech business on the global economy, and how do you indicate these factors?
Well, women are just another social contributor in our society. But when you look at it, 80% of purchasing power belongs to women. And so they were constantly making a decision. And when I heard that number, I thought, well, it can't be. But through the data, it says women are significant decision maker for finance, buying a house, to buying a car even. At the end of the day, they're quite influencer in the household. And so, you need to pay attention who's making a decision, obviously. Also, when you look at where money come from, often money come from the moment baby was born, human being born, until they pass away. So when you look at humans' lifespan, that's what people are making, spending money. And early part of a human being, and then let's say even retired, like after 60, who are primary care? Who understand the human's need? Who's being involved with that sector? Well, women. So many of those human-related need and the primary driver in that industry tended to be women. Yet when women arises and try to solve issues in society that intricately they are involved, often men might not be involved and they don't understand, which is fine. But turn out to 93% of it, venture capitalists are men. So you asking somebody to understand for something that they're not involved at all, it creates a huge misunderstanding and huge gap. And so you as a society, not having women who holds 80% of purchasing power and primary care person for a major part of a human being's lifespan, you're looking at the huge hole. And so having women rising and be able to drive the business in a way that they see, it is critical. It has been proven over and over with many data. When women are involved in a business, even though their capital raise might be much lower, but they're 23% higher return of investment, and they turn to be a better investment material, but money usually doesn't go to them often. So there's a huge gap in where money is going, huge gap in money going to the people who's intricately involved in the needs of the human being and in our society.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why this year we decided to join the initiative WiSE24. It was the first time when Ukraine participated in WiSE24. We would be grateful if you can share your feedback on the female founders from Ukraine and their products and startups.
You're talking about the impression of Ukraine entrepreneur? Yeah, I haven't met many entrepreneurs in different countries, and you can't really say just the 15 or 20 entrepreneurs we get to see that are already screened to make a conclusion. But we certainly felt the Ukrainian entrepreneur was really great quality. Obviously, they a lot of idea was very unique. They were much further in as an early stage, and they're ready. Even though English is not main language, and we work with other countries, the English is not their first language. Ukrainian entrepreneurs seem to be a lot more prepared with English, and so we worked on a number of presentation skill, and we saw significant improvements. So I felt that they were ready. as a startup. But as an entrepreneur, to be able to pitch globally, you just need to have a slightly different type of a training. And I hope we had an opportunity to provide that and also exposure.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ari, for doing all this effort for Ukraine. We really appreciate it as Ukrainians and in general. What do you see as a trend in female-founded startups in terms of leadership, technology, fundraising, and business development processes?
I think there's more and more economical impact that people realizing, having women to be driving the businesses, and more efforts is going to go. Given where I am being focusing in last 7 years, I have seen the significant changes, but the number is enough. So I want to be really, really clear that while we have seen the great deal of changes, we are not putting enough money, not enough effort to deal with something that's significantly affecting our economy, your society. And so this is not about bracketing, say, hey, let's do a nice things to help women entrepreneur. This is not a charitable conversation. This is not a social impact. This is about you, each of you in the society, how you've been affected, negatively affected, not having women to reflect what society need. And, you know, for US as an example, just over only 3% of venture money going to women. 3%, that's just really sad number. And when women are so into your community, your family, your children, and everything about your society is a part of it, and they're not getting that money, that's like you get cheated on the dollar that you're paying for your society. So I think while yes, there is a lot of positive things coming, I want to stress that don't think we are okay. We are not okay. And I think it's like emergency. You go to hospital, you go to triage because you are massively lacking oxygen. It's emergency. And I see when you look at the number, how little money and effort goes into having women to be vital part of your society life, vital part of life. If it's missing, you need to do something extra to the point that person is healthy and running and being contributing to the society. And women, when you look at the data and the money, they're at the triage level. And I think we need to take it seriously until that's being done. I think it's important that you make a special effort to have a women to rise, and then it's for your society to benefit, not a charitable conversation about women. So I just want to make a clear statement on that one, so people don't think this is, oh, it's nice things to help women. It's not. It's about your community and your society.
Yeah, and during WiSE24, we have a great speaker, keynote speaker from Ukraine, Olga Afanasieva, who made really great presentation about women in venture capital and how small percentage in the investment in female startups as well. So
at the end, we would be pleased to hear your wishes and advice to female founders from Ukraine.
Oh, I think getting fundraising, if that was the goal, it's not that easy, right? Because the investor want to invest it in the startup that's committed, and they want to keep the company nearby. So I think it's important that entrepreneurs understand that you have to invest in a relationship in a long time before you actually thinking about investment. So, you know, do not think WiSE24, any global pitches as you show up and get investment right away, unless, that particular event have the cash prize, then that's different, that you will get something immediately. But I think it's important that the world, with the digital transformations and the connectivity, the world is getting closer and closer. And many countries, and hopefully including Ukraine too, that when you start the business, you're thinking about global opportunity right away to tap into bigger market. Then you need to be out there. You need to be communicating to some thought leader. And I think WiSE24, we brought the speaker that are globally known, well-connected Silicon Valley leaders, and having those connection is important. You might not see the direct relationship, but I think building a relationship, networking, and keep, sending an email update, continue to do that. So when you have a fundraise, you have somebody that say, oh, I know you, I've been watching. Hey, let's have a conversation about possibly expanding your market to, let's say, United States. And so my advice is just continue to think about global as your daily effort, and make sure that you have a network. Just start early, nurture it over a long time, so that you're well prepared.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you a lot.
Horie.
Yeah, sure. Great.
We are so proud to have you today as a speaker for our event. Thank you.
Thank you.